Right, so once you have the application installed, it should look a little like this. There's no results because you haven't recorded anything yet, right? So what you want to make sure is that the extension is installed. So let's just do that quick. So you can go here to the right, more tools, extensions. You will see here probably a different version. So we have version 1.08 here, and you should see version 1 or maybe even more, depending on when you view this video. You want to make sure that it's enabled over there. If you're having issues when you get a little red dialog coming back saying the extension is not running or there's an issue, just maybe stop the extension and start the extension, and that should sort it out, because then it makes a communication between, it establishes a communication channel between the extension and the server. So we should be good to go now. So the next thing we want to do is we want to open up a tab. We just want to test that everything is there. So testing, let's just search for test cricket. And you'll see here is the actual extension now running. Now let's just quickly talk about what's going on over here. As a start, you can pick this up by clicking there, and you can drag it anywhere you want. If you drag it over that side, the text would go on the other side. And you can also take the text away so that it just becomes like this. Now, that's what it looks like on a page. You see it's green, it means it's recording. And if we mouse over it, it actually pops out that little menu. And if you click on that button over there, it pops it out even more. Okay, so that's pretty simple how that works. Now, what are the different things over here? I'm not going to talk about all of them. Let's just first see that we are indeed recording this session in Vortimo. So it should be already recorded. So if we go back, you'll see there's nothing. Well, the reason for that is because Vortimo doesn't auto reload the pages over here. You need to click on this looking glass, the search button here, and that will tell you, okay, now these are the new results, and this is a visit. Now, a visit is a URL plus a timestamp. There's the timestamp, there's the URL. I can obviously reload that page. If I click on live, it will open up that page exactly the way that it was, but it's a live page that's going out onto the internet. If I click on the blitz, or if I even click on the URL there, you'll see that it downloads the page. Because it's an HTML file, Chrome is going to be like, hey, are you sure you want to have this file? You can say I want to keep it. You just drag it into a tab over there, and there you go. This is now here. You can see it's a local file that we're viewing, and that's exactly the file. That's exactly the site that we want. Okay, so that's what it looks like. And now we know that we are recording information. We know that the tool is working. You will also see on this side, on the right hand side, there's the objects that were extracted from there, and on the left hand side is the URL. Since there's only one, there's not a lot to see here. Also, the timeline is blank because we haven't browsed for longer than 10 minutes. The minimum area that this graph is over here is 10 minutes. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to browse around a little bit. We can pick let's pick test cricket for that matter, for what we want to investigate, and let's read up about test cricket. So we're on Wikipedia, and let's see who's the best test cricket teams. There's India. Let's go to India, and let's also say that something in here is, let's say something in this page is really important for us. Now, let's say the thing that we want to make very important for us is is a name. Let's pick a name. So let's pick Virat Kohli. Right. Now, what we want to do is we want to highlight the word Virat Kohli, right? And then you'll see a little menu appear. It's pretty easy what this does. The first is the thing that you will use. The first item is the thing that you will use the most, which is the little star. And that means I want to make this particular term important, right? So if I click on it, what you'll see is that the name will be underlined. The item that you selected will be underlined. If we do it with just normal kind of text, so let's say we take the word Australia, and let's put this comma, let's add this comma as well when we do the highlighting. So we're going to highlight all the way to the comma, and we're going to say, okay, let's tag this thing. Now what you'll see is there Australia gets underlined as well everywhere in the text where we have the word Australia. There you see Australia, 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 it will be underlined, and it will be underlined in any subsequent page. If we just Google for Australia, then you will see that it gets underlined on any subsequent page that we look at, right? See there, Australia is underlined again. Now what is interesting is in the page just prior to this Google search, you didn't see it underlined. It's not underlined there. It doesn't say Tourism Australia. If we go to Tourism Australia, it will be underlined. Let's see. There you go. It's underlined there, Australia. But on the Google search page, it's not underlined. And that is by design. And it's also a setting that you can actually change. So I'll show you where you can change it. In fact, let's just look at it right now. If we go to the application, we go to settings, you'll see a couple of things. The first is these sites over here, we will never record, right? So we'll never record anything that comes from Gmail. We're never going to record something that comes from a Google Drive or from WhatsApp. And that is because you don't really want to record your conversations that you have on WhatsApp or your Gmail. And you can obviously add whatever you want there. But maybe you do want that so you can, remove these things, and then Vortimo will also record your email. Now you'll see there's two things here, highlight computed and highlight tagged. And we're going to talk about it a little bit more in detail in a bit. But for now, let's just say that you can see both are the same. And basically what it says is don't highlight stuff if it comes from a Google search. And the reason for that is because you don't want to see things that you already know that you're searching for underlined when you are scrolling through here to find a result. We just found that it works better if it's not underlined in a Google search. It works well when it's underlined in the result page, but not on a Google search itself. So let's go back to that wiki page where we were, right? So here we are. Australia is now underlined and Virat Kohli is underlined. Now, when you hover over that underlined text, you'll see that it basically brings up what we call the heads-up display. And this thing is broken into two different sections. Actually, let me find this over here, because that explains it really nicely. You'll see there's the object value and the object type. So if we go back to it, in this case it says Australia, which is the value, and text because it doesn't know that it's a country. But for Virat Kohli, it should know that it's a name. So if we go over it, you'll see that it says Virat Kohli and it says name. So it's treating it as a name now, right? We then see places that we've seen that name, other places that we've seen it. So Virat Kohli we've only seen on this Wikipedia page. So it should just say Wikipedia right there. But Australia, we've now browsed on a couple of pages. We've seen it on some of these pages that we were on when we were doing the Google search. So if we go to Australia, you'll see you found it on Google, you found it on Wikipedia, which is where we are right now. But you've also seen it on Britannica and Australia.com. Now, this heads-up display, what's nice about it is we can very easily, let's go back to Virat Kohli. If we just click on the name here, let's just go back to this, and I'll show you. There's areas within this heads-up display that launches Google searches. So as a start, if we just want to search the name, So Virat Kohli, let's search the name. We can click on the name. It'll open up a new window that searches for, in quotes, Virat Kohli, right? Straightforward. But if we search for Virat Kohli in, let's say we click over there and we say Hardik Pandya, I should be able to, yes, just go with Jasprit Bumrah. He's a bowler, I think. His name is now related. We found that it is related to Virat Kohli because they play in the same team, right? Or MS Dhoni. So let's click on Jasprit Bumrah, and it will search for Jasprit Bumrah plus Virat Kohli, right? So where the two names exist on the same page, and that's kind of nice. In the same way, it would go, and if we click on the places where it was seen, so if I say, okay, I want to see Virat, well, let's just take Australia. So Australia, and I click on the source, Britannica.com, then we'll get a search that says Australia site on Britannica.com. So the site operator in Google means search for it on Britannica.com. So that's really useful to take something really quickly. Let's say Ravi Sastry, we pick his name, we highlight him, okay, we get the highlight on him, there we go, and then we say, oh, well, he's on all, I've seen it on all of these places. Let's quickly search for his name with this name over here, which I'm not going to try and pronounce, but you can see it is related to that name. Okay. If I want to untag something, so I've now tagged it. If I want to untag it, what I can do is I can click on it, and I can just click on the unfavorite button over here. And now that gets untagged. Now what you will see here, what is really interesting, is that as we were now browsing some of the sites and Googling the names, some other names were also highlighted. You saw MS Dhoni get a little dotted line underneath it, right? And the reason why MS Dhoni gets a dotted yellow line underneath it is because the tool is basically saying, hey, by the way, this name over here, we see this quite often as well. You might want to have a look at it, right? So if I go over this, you'll see that it's now yellow, but it works exactly the same. And if I want to say, well, okay, this name that you found that you think is important for me, like Ravi Sastry, if we want to have that name also highlighted, we could just click on this favorite button, and we can click on this favorite button, and now these things are highlighted, underlined with a red line. So that is a way that we can take things within the tool, within the web page, and we can easily say, hey, this is important for me, remember this, and so forth and so on. For the other thing that we can do that's really nice is we can make notes straight on the page without leaving the application. So if I want to make a note on Virat Kohli, I can click on there. It says edit note. I can say he is the captain of the team, well, of the Indian team, right? And that's saved. I don't need to hit save or anything like that. If I want to go to MS Dhoni, make a note, I can say, okay, he used to be the I think he used to be the captain of the team, and that note is now saved. And let's take Australia, and we don't want to have it highlighted anymore, so we could just say, okay, don't want to highlight that. You'll see still that the tool says, well, you've seen a lot of Australia, so maybe you want to highlight that as well. And if we scroll down, we might see some other things that were highlighted as well. So here you can see Sachin Tendulkar. The tool also tells me that this is maybe interesting. So I can say, oh, Sachin Tendulkar, I think he had the highest score. I want to make a note on that. Highest scoring test cricket. I don't know if it's right, but I think so. Oh, might be. Saurav Ganguly, and so forth and so on. Now, all of these things get mentioned on other pages. If I want to see what pages they were mentioned on, so I'm like, oh, Sachin Tendulkar, that seems interesting. What was it mentioned on? I can click on it and it says, oh, it showed up in a Google search and it's on Wikipedia. Well, it isn't Wikipedia because we're right there, right now. And if I want to search for it, I can click on the name, and of course, it just launches a search immediately. If I go to, let's say I go to his Twitter profile, say, okay, that's his Twitter profile, and I want to remember that this is his Twitter profile. So there's also a way that we can actually tag pages, not just objects within the pages, but the entire page itself, right? So how would I do this? Well, I would go to the extension over there and click this button over there. You see this button over there? I click this and it says that it was favorited. So a page that is favorited shows this button, this star, as red. And we'll see in the tool, when we go back to the tool, we'll see exactly why that is, or how that shows up in the tool. You can see that immediately it says here that this alias was seen in a Google search as well, so maybe you want to know about that. So I want to mark this as important, and I want to mark this as, there you see it shows up on Twitter, Wikipedia, and Google, Sachin Tendulkar, and it has the it has the text that we just put down, and on the Wikipedia page it has the text over there as well. And there's Virat Kohli is underlined again over there because we underlined it in the Wikipedia page, so it shows up here as well. Okay, so now let's see what happens with this in the actual UI, because we haven't opened up the UI since we've done all of this marking. So if we go to the UI and we click on refresh, then obviously all the pages that we've seen are now captured in here. Now, if I want to get the, if I want to see all of the objects that I tagged, I go to my tags over here, and it's very important. Everything within Vortimo runs on tags, right? So you'll see how everything becomes tag centric, right? So I've got object tags, I've got image tags, and I've got URL tags. Currently, we don't have a way to allow the user in the browser to tag an image, but it will come soon, we hope. So we can remember in the extension in the web page, we can, at the moment, we can tag objects, and we can tag pages itself, like URLs itself. So let's say for this Indian cricket team on Wikipedia, we wanted to tag this page too. We'll go over there, we'll mark it. Now this page is also tagged. So let's go back. Now I want to retrieve, I want to see within the tool, I want to see the objects that I tagged in the past, or maybe the URLs, or maybe the objects. So here's the objects. You see everything is marked as favorite. I click on it, it says on the right, here are the objects that I've tagged. So Virat Kohli, MS Dhoni, Ravi Sastry, and Sachin RT, which is an alias. So these three were names. You can see there's a number, 3, it says names. You can see 1 is an alias. Now if I want to see where I found it, let's say I want to see Ravi Sastry. So if I click on it, it highlights the term within the page. And there's the 2 pages which I can see over here. I can see the one is from one page from Google, one page from Wikipedia. There they are. And I can see what time I saw it, which was around about 1 o'clock on the 7th of November. There's the time as well, exactly 1 o'clock and 6 past 1, right? See these 2 pages that I've seen. Those are now the pages that I've seen. I can do the same thing with the URLs. So if I want to clear filters, so if you want to reset this thing every time to the beginning with, all of the filters cleared and the tags back to the top window, you just hit escape. So if you hit escape, you go to the top. No more filters, right? So now I can go to the URLs. So I've got 2 there. So I click on that, and you'll see I've only got 1 applied tag, and it's called favorite, right? So here we go. We've got the Wikipedia page for India, and we've got the Twitter page of Sachin Tendulkar, and those are the two that I've tagged. Now, let's do a little bit of tag management, because maybe I want to split this into two different tags. Let's make a tag for India, the Indian team, and let's make a tag for the Australian team. And everything that's in Australia we'll mark as the Australian, and everything that's in the Indian team we'll mark as Indian. So far, I think all of the things that we marked is from the Indian team, right? So let's clear our filters. We go to, actually, let's tag a couple of images as well. So the image tagging, if we want to do image tagging, we have to do it, unfortunately, at the moment within the UI. So we go to our image gallery over here. And obviously we can now combine our searches. So let's see images that we got from Twitter, which is these ones. And these all come from Sachin Tendulkar's, I think, yeah, from his Twitter page. So let's say we want to tag this picture over here. You can make it a favorite, right? And we make that a favorite. That's, I think, let's take that one as well. You see now that tag gets applied to all of those. And then let's look at some of the other pictures as well. So we clear our filters, just did this. Let's go to what pictures did we get on Wikipedia. These are the pictures we got from Wikipedia. Let's just search for ones that have medium size. So let's say this picture here of India, we want to favorite this, we want to favorite that one, and we want to favorite this one. Right, so now when I go to my, if I clear filters again, hit escape, right, and go to my image tags, and I click on it, you'll see I've got these 6 selected. They come from, like we know, from the Sachin Tendulkar Twitter page, and we see it coming from the Wikipedia page. Okay, now let's say we want to take all of these tags and give it another tag. We want to make these tags, let's say we want to make a tag that's called Indian cricket, right? All right, so what we do is let's start with our objects. Okay, so we got 4 objects over there. There they are. And you'll see here at the bottom there's like 3 dots. And these 3 dots applies to everything that's in this section over here. So if I click this and I go tag, and we're going to make a new tag. So we're going to make a new tag that we called India, right? And we're going to change the color to, let's make the color pink. Right, so now we're going to say make all of those things not favorite anymore, but make it India, right? So save. So now obviously nothing is selected here anymore because we were looking at a tag that says favorite, right? Now let's do it for our images. So we go select all the favorites. So these are the 6 again that we had. So actually we don't want to make it a tag favorite, we make it a tag India. And we save this and that disappears. Clear the filters, we go to the URLs, pick our 2 URLs. Now they show up here. We click on those. 3 there. Tag India. Alright, save. So now we don't have any favorite tags anymore, right? If we look at our tags here, object tags, oh, there is one that's still favorite. This one, I didn't pick this one. Okay, so let's, now you'll see, because I've made a tag called India, you'll see that there's, in this menu, right click menu, we basically show you the last 2 tags that you use. So India is already tagged there. You can just tag that and unfavorite that. And now Sachin is also in the Indian tag. So if I go objects, I only see India, and they're all marked India, right? Now, if I go back to my web page over here, here we go. None of these are now red because we said that we only show things that are marked as a favorite as red, and they're not marked as a favorite, right? Which means now we can start tagging the Australian cricket players. So let's just go through here and let's say we want to look at well, let's just search for Australia cricket, and I'm sure we can see some things over here. Australia Cricket is there. This is the actual website. This is not what we want to see. Let's go to their wiki page. There we go. Australian national cricket team on Wikipedia, and we already see a couple of things. Australia being marked. Actually, we don't want to see Australia as a term being marked, so we can go to the heads up, and we can just say ignore this object, and now it wouldn't show up. Australia wouldn't show up as being marked, right? Because we've ignored it. Now let's pick some names over here. Let's just say, I don't know. At least want to pick some players that I know. So, okay, so let's say we pick Joe Burns. So we pick Joe Burns, we highlight Joe Burns, and it should get red underlined, which it does. And we want to pick Sean Marsh. And we want to pick, I don't really know these other ones. Pat Cummings. Where's Pat Cummings? There's Pat Cummings. I want to pick Pat Cummings. Right. And maybe I want to know a little bit more about, there's Tim Payne. Actually the extension is telling me it's you should look at Tim Payne. So let's pick Tim Payne, and we say that he is a wicket keeper. Make a note. Oh, wait. Hang on 1 second. I clicked on the wrong button there. Where is it? There. So, okay. Wicket keeper. Wicket keeper. I think he's a wicket keeper. Alright, doesn't matter. Right? So, let's get some pictures of these oaks as well. Actually, we can go back to Vortimo, to the user interface. Here's the let's just get someone else. Let's just see, let's just search for Joe Burns. Okay, and there's his picture. Right, that's Joe Burns. Go and let's find his Twitter profile. This is his Twitter profile. Let's go mark his alias as important. So that gets marked as well. Alright, there we go. So all of these are marked now. So if I go back in here, okay, and I pick my objects, now I pick favorite, and I say move all of these tags to, I'm going to create a new one that I call Australia. And I'm going to make them orange. Okay. Alright. So I can do this the whole time. But the problem is, that's a bit of a pain, right? I've got now Australia, I've got India. Let's just do it quickly with do we have any URL tags? No, we don't have any URL tags. But I don't want to do that all the time, like pick someone and then move it in here, pick someone and move it in here. So what I can do is I can actually here set whatever I'm going to highlight. I can say that if I highlight something, it needs to apply these tags automatically to it. So let's say I want to pick Australia, right? So now whenever I select something in here, here's we in the Guardian, we're reading this thing. I'm going to subscribe right now. And say for whatever reason, Bridget Delaney, I know it's not, but let's say Bridget Delaney is a Australian cricket player, right? So I'm going to try and select this. It's a link. Now, a little trick, if you struggle to select something because it's a link, just press Alt and you should be able to still select. We can't select it like this. So let's see if we can select it like, oops, no. Let's see if we can select it like so, there we go. And then we're going to mark it, right? And now Bridget Delaney is marked as straight off as Australia, I don't need to change the tag. Everything that I mark now will get the tag Australia. If I want to have the word they fly, no, let's say glorious as marked as part of Australia. Let's not make that. Let's just rather say damage. Let's say damage. We're going to mark damage as Australian. Then it will be marked as Australia. If I go back into the tool and say now I'm marking India, so we're not marking Australia anymore, now we're marking everything as India, then if I use the word bird and I say I mark it, then that would get the tag India straight away, right? So that works pretty well. Now the last thing I want to show you is now we've basically made some notes, right? We've tagged things in the tool. We marked it. We changed the tags within here. We took some of these photos that you saw over here, and we tagged those as well. And what's nice about this now is that all of this, if I go to reports, and basically my reports are built per tag. So if I go to the Australian tag, and let's go to the India tag, then all of the things that I marked is already in this report. And all of the notes there, he's the captain of the Indian team, he used to be the captain of the team, is already in there. The URLs that I marked, that I favorited are in there. The pictures that I put in there, everything is basically in here. The actual items that could be recognized as objects, I'll put at the top. But things like, remember I highlighted birds, is a piece of text, and that's in a separate section. And I can even, let's say I want to move Sashin up to the top here. I can swap these things around. I want to put this this picture of him at the top, and I can move this around, right? And of course, with the pictures, I can say I want to actually show the entire location, or I want to show how I got to it, so the visits. And the same goes for the names. If I want to know where I saw Virat Kohli, it says these are all the pages where I saw the name Virat Kohli, and I can switch that on and off. It doesn't really matter. I can still make notes to my websites and say this was an important site. It doesn't really matter whatever I put in there, right? That is an important site. And when I'm done with all of this, I can say make this into a PDF, right? So the idea is that as you are, let's just look at the PDF, and there's the PDF, exactly how it was over there, okay, with the notes and like the visits. I can obviously also change the heading. I can make notes here, more notes. I can say this is an OSN report on India 2019, and all of these things are saved in here. So it means that I can really, in the actual tool, I can mark things and I can favorite things, and immediately, and I can make notes on it. It immediately goes into the report over here. And then finally, what I can do is I can say, okay, actually, I want to make a new project. Let's call it another one, right? And now maybe I'm doing something completely different. I'm doing a different investigation. I can now change the name of, because it's not an active project anymore, change this. I can call this cricket. Okay, click on save. And if I want to swap, if I go in here, obviously there's nothing in here right now. There's no tags, there's no information because it's a new investigation. And I can, let's say I'm doing something else now. I'm looking at battery technology, right? Just as a quick, just to show you, I've got stuff in here. Battery tech, there it is in, right? this page is now still from one of these tabs that were open over here, which I don't want to have in there. If I want to ignore URLs, I can just say ignore URL, and that's gone. So there's my battery tech, and all this stuff is now. And now I want to switch back to my Cricut investigation. So I just click this, I say Cricut, and it now swaps these two things out. And there's my timeline, and all of the pages that I visited in that time, and you know, the things that I marked as important. The images is there, everything is back in here. So I can easily swap just between two investigations. If I want to go back to my whatever battery investigation, then there's the pictures from there, and I can switch between them. So that makes it really easy to switch between things. Now, in the commercial product, what we will have is the ability to download, import this. So I can just say, okay, export this, put it in a file. It's huge files. It ends up to be like massive files. But I can download them, I can store them, and of course all of the pages. Now if I'm off the internet right now, if I want to go back, you know, if I go back to my Cricut investigation, I want to find the Sessions Twitter page. I go to Twitter over there, go to profiles, go to, let's say, Joe Burns. There's Joe Burns, and I can click on this little thing over there, keep little blitz there, and then even if I'm offline or whatever, you know, I still have his Twitter page up to obviously where I saw it. So it's not going to be live because it's not live. It doesn't scroll. There's nothing more there. But depending on how far I went down, as soon as the page reloads, it saves a new copy of that. So I hope this has been a little bit more, this gives you a better idea of what we're doing with augmented browsing and with tags and the reporting. It's obviously not all of the functionality within the tool, but it should be enough to get you going. And the rest of it is really easy. I mean, you can figure it out. Like, you know, things like this, if it says copy, then, you know, it just basically copies those things out to a list. There's it in a list. You know, same thing over here. I can search still within these objects. So if I want to say Burn for someone, Burn, what was his name? Joe Burns. There it is. There's the aliases. I can search in there. I can search within the entire project at the top here. So if I want to say Wicket, then, you know, it will pull out all of these things. This is the timeline at the bottom over here. These are all the pages where the word Wicket was. I can search within the URLs pretty easily, and I can search in the title, or I can search in the actual URL. So if I search PHP over here, but so you can search in the title, or you can search in the actual URL. So that's pretty interesting once you get to things like Facebook and those kind of things. Yeah, so the rest of it is really easy to understand. You can see the things that I've ignored. There's Australia. Remember I said I don't want to see Australia on every page. I can unignore it. I can delete it forever. For instance, if I want to say, well, actually things that I did at the beginning of this investigation, or let's say this is the end of this investigation over here. So let's select that time period. I don't want to have any of those things anymore. I want to delete it. You know, it's the wrong page or something like this. Then here's all the URLs. So I can select all the URLs and say remove, and they are now removed, right? If I want to permanently remove it, I can go here. You see there's all the URLs, and I can say just delete all. And now all of those URLs are permanently removed. Okay. So I hope this has made it clear that the tool is not really that difficult. It is powerful, and therefore it needs, you know, a couple of things, buttons and things like that. But it's really easy to understand. And this view that you have over here is the view that you're going to be using all the time. You know, there's no other screens and other places where you configure whatever. Sure, there's reports and there's settings, but basically you're going to spend your time on this screen over here. I hope it's been useful. Let me know if there's any questions, if there's any more uncertainties, things like this. We're putting out a little manual, which is this presentation over here, so that you can see, you know, what these things are. It's a little bit more information in there as well. But let us know if anything is unclear. Cheers.